I'm Kevin LaBelle with Falcon Cable TV. We're here at the Monterey Park Golf Course, and we're here for the first flight of the Monterey Park Police Department's first aircraft. It's not a helicopter, it's an ultralight. It's a small one-man aircraft powered by a two-cylinder engine. The ultralight that the Monterey Park Police Department is using will cost maybe $5 an hour for the city to operate. You can see this will be great savings for the city of Monterey Park and for you, the citizens. We're going to talk with Mayor Moneybog and one of the pilots of this aircraft to get a little feel of what will be happening in the future with Monterey Park as they begin this new venture. Mayor Moneybog. Mayor, today we're initiating a very progressive program with the police department. Could you give us some background as to how this program got started?
Well, obviously it's a very unique program. It's the first in the country, in fact in the world as far as we know. Our police department and our city staff have been studying this kind of program for quite some time now, particularly now because of the financial crunch to most cities. There's just no way a city like Monterey Park could afford a helicopter or one of the other regular aircrafts that use in police work. So they've been studying this, and they came to us with a fine and strong recommendation to proceed with it. When you think of the difference in savings, it's fantastic, really. And for a city like Monterey Park, less than 8 square miles, we don't need a helicopter, we don't need a regular aircraft. This is just fine. You hover 500 to 1,000 miles above the city, and you can spot just about everything around here. And it'll cost about $5 an hour to run, to maintain, whereas for a helicopter, it runs about $600 an hour, not counting the pilot's salary. So you can see that we have the same, if not better, results with this kind of aircraft as we would with a helicopter.
Where will the aircraft be based?
It'll be based on the southeast part of the city, close to the landfill. We've been given the use of that area free of charge by the operators of the landfill.
And how many officers will be flying the aircraft?
We have 3 trained officers already who will be flying the aircraft. We expect to train more. We'll emphasize safety, first of all. And you understand this aircraft can be flown without a license, without training, if you like. You can buy a kit, put it together, and fly it. There have been some accidents along those lines, but we shall emphasize safety at all times.
And what will be a 24-hour patrol with the aircraft?
No, it'll have to be only during daylight hours. Those are the most effective times. There's no way to be effective at night.
How were the officers trained to fly this aircraft?
They were trained by the builders of this aircraft. It didn't take very long at all.
Okay, Mayor, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you.
We're standing here with Sergeant Marasco. I wanted to ask you how you feel about flying this aircraft. You're going to be one of the first pilots of this program. It's a very exciting program. How do you feel about that?
Well, the aircraft itself is comfortable to fly. It's pretty straightforward, very safe. It's got the canard wing design, which means it's relatively stall-proof and spin-proof. So when you fly the thing, you don't really have to think about flying. You can divert your attention other places, in our case, to the ground for surveillance purposes. Kind of an engine failure or anything like that, it's got a 7 or 8 to 1 glide ratio, so we can usually glide to about any emergency landing spot we'd like to.
And you've flown the aircraft before. How's it feel?
It feels good. It's real maneuverable and comfortable and simple to fly.
If you're looking forward to this program, it seems like a very progressive program by the police department. I've never seen this anywhere else, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're standing here with Agent Payne with the Monterey Park Police Department. So you'll be patrolling how many hours a day with this yourself?
Probably about 4 hours out of my 8-hour shift right now.
And when you're up there, what are you going to look for?
Any suspicious activity, just like I would in a patrol car, and mainly assist the ground units on any crimes in progress, any fleeing suspects or vehicles.
What would be the top speed of the aircraft?
Top speed is 55 miles an hour.
So you can just about keep up with any speeder on the surface streets then?
Yes.
It's great. Thank you for talking with us.
On behalf of Monterey Park and law enforcement in general, I hereby christen our first aircraft of the Monterey Park Airport. Now, Maria, that was...
Rocco.
Hello, this is David Almada, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Monterey Park, and we're here today at El Monte Airport, and we are having our maiden run, our maiden flight of our ultralight airplane.
As a center of Asian immigration to Southern California, the city of Monterey Park has experienced an unprecedented explosion in its immigrant population, from 2.9% in the 60s to more than 37% in 1984. To meet the challenges offered by these new residents, whose customs, languages, and cultures are markedly different from the city's Anglo residents, a unique community-civic government partnership has evolved. This arrangement stresses acculturation, not only of the newly arrived Chinese, but for both the Anglos and Hispanic population. Affluent and growing, Monterey Park has distinguished itself as a Pacific Rim city. The city's 58,500 residents are a diverse ethnic mix of 38% Asian, 35% Hispanic, and 25% Anglos. Monterey Park is 7.7 square miles, located 6 miles east of metropolitan Los Angeles. In 1980, a Human Services Task Force was formed by 35 representatives of local schools, private and public social agencies, law enforcement, and concerned citizens to target these problems and develop programs aimed at providing a better understanding of the needs of its radically changed community. The city's Chamber of Commerce, in response to the dramatic change in the commercial community, which witnessed a spectacular growth in Asian businesses, established a Chinese-American committee to entice Chinese merchants into the mainstream of the commercial community. The organization, which began with 12 members in 1976, burgeoned to 45 members by 1979. The acclamation of the Chinese merchants to the Chamber of Commerce concept has been so successful that one member of the Chinese-American Committee now serves as president of the parent body, while the committee as a whole has become fully integrated into the business association. Additionally, the cooperation between local businesses and the city retailers has spurred a commercial revitalization program which accommodates ethnic design and bilingual signage.
What we've experienced is quite a willingness on the part of all of the ethnic minorities in our community to participate in the program that we developed called a Citizens Translator Program. This program works something like this. Daily, our officers are faced with the communications problem with citizens, whether it be for traffic enforcement, responding to calls for services, rendering emergency aid, or if it's merely just communicating with a person to give them directions in the community. It goes something like this. Officer A stops Citizen Chang for whatever purpose. And the officer, not being able to communicate with the person, will try to determine the ethnic background on this individual. Once he does that, he will take this book that was developed and he will point to a section in this book in various languages or with various flags that will symbolize a nation or a nationality. Once he establishes the nationality of the individual, he'll turn to a different section in the book that will in fact tell the individual, please wait while we get an interpreter so that we can communicate. At that time, over his handheld radio, he will ask the dispatch center, I need, hypothetically, a Mandarin-speaking Chinese interpreter. At that time, the communications dispatcher will access the fields of various interpreters and translators that we have on staff. And there are 265 volunteers that do this for us. And those 265 people speak 30 various languages. Once they call one of the Mandarin-speaking interpreters on the telephone, they'll ask him if he could please translate for our officers in the field. Upon agreement, they will take that telephone call, patch it through to the field on the handheld walkie-talkie, and in essence what takes place is a three-way conversation. The officer asking the interpreter over the radio, would you please ask Mr. So-and-so where he lives, what information he needs, and then over the radio the person will ask him that and then respond back to the radio, and in turn the interpreter talking on the radio will translate that for the officer.
A citizen advisory committee of 20 members representing schools, business, labor, church, community, and civic groups assisted in the preparation of a literacy grant to provide a formalized program to promote literacy for the adult population. The state of California, recognizing this overwhelming need for literacy training in the community, awarded the city $90,000, an exceptional allocation for a city of its population size. Under the direction of a Citizen Advisory Board, the Literacy Project utilizes trained volunteers who donate more than 100 volunteer hours weekly. Beverly Sutton, project coordinator for Monterey Park's literacy program, explains the community volunteer effort.
We have 105 active volunteers in our program. And they have duties which range from helping us with community development and public relations to good old office workers who do typing and filing for us. And then we have our tutors, and the program is based upon the volunteer tutor. Each tutor tutors at least 2 students, and generally tutors once or twice a week for about an hour and a half with each student. Of course, preparation time for that teaching generally takes more time than the actual teaching. So they put in a tremendous amount of hours being involved in helping students learn basic reading, writing, and communication skills.
Nationwide, the past decade has been a period of both change and challenge for all levels of government, particularly at the municipal level. The government and community partnership in Monterey Park has accommodated this welcome influx of new immigrants and continues to assist them in full resident participation in community affairs.
Citizens have a little less to fear. Man's brainstorm.
Last season, we told you the story about an incredible kid pilot, Kenny Bennett, at the controls of an ultralight plane. That segment was an inspiration for Monterey Park Police Lieutenant Joe Santoro, who came up with a revolutionary way to fight crime.
I was sitting in my front room watching That's Incredible, and they had a 9-year-old boy that was going to take his first solo flight as the youngest pilot. I mentioned to my wife that I thought it was an intriguing idea and that possibly we could use it in law enforcement because it was simple to operate and it looked like it was cost-effective.
Although skeptical at first, the Monterey Park Police Department was persuaded to give it a try.
The purchase cost for a helicopter can be anywhere from $250,000 to $700,000 as compared to $5,000 for an ultralight. The operating cost for the ultralight is about $5 to $7 an hour as compared to about $300 an hour for a helicopter. The other consideration is pilot training, which a helicopter pilot would require probably about $18,000 to get them qualified to fly, and out of an ultralight pilot, probably $700. In police work, we can use the ultralight as many other cities use helicopters. In the case of a burglary in progress, if a neighbor calls in giving a description of a suspect vehicle or whatnot to some house in their neighborhood, the ultralight can respond probably within minutes of the initial call, long before ground units can get there.
Attention all units, 459 in progress, 447 Kingsford, 31 to handle, 35 and other units to assist.
This is a dramatization of the ultralight patrol in action.
For the suspect vehicle, maroon sedan. Suspect description, male, 6 foot, medium build, wearing a dark watch cap, dark clothing, carrying a white bag.
The ultralight's bird's eye view enables Sergeant Morosco to get a quick fix on the suspect's location. Without it, the ground patrol would be out of luck.
Number 1, I'm unable to locate the suspect. I'll be proceeding southbound, and McCarthy can have units responding.
The ultralight resembles a vehicle a comic book superhero might use. Its crime-fighting pilot is hot on the suspect's trail.
The aircraft can follow at speeds up to 60 miles per hour and travels at an altitude of 800 to 1,000 feet. From this perspective, there is virtually no way the crook can get away.
During this whole time, the ultralight pilot would have direct communication with the ground units and can direct them to the suspect's location. The suspect may not even know he's being followed.
Officer Morosco now gets the ground units ready to close in on the suspect.
Monterey Park vehicle now has pulled into the driveway, 400 block of McCarthy. Story, we're on all 97 area now.
For the most part, the flying policeman's mission is accomplished.
In nearby Los Angeles, the number of captured suspects and arrests has more than doubled since helicopters were introduced. Monterey Park expects the Ultralight to do at least as well.
Monterey Park is the first community in the world to use the Ultralight as a flying crime fighter. But the idea is catching on fast in many other communities as a way of getting the bad guys before his trail gets cold.